My name's Olga Cironis. I'm an installation artist. I work with mostly found and recycled objects, including hair and nails. The whole idea is to recycle and to work with history and the body so that it links back to our identity on the earth, I think. Seriously, I had no plans to be an artist. I just found myself making things, and then it was like life took over and I just followed. The first thing I studied was photography, then I studied glass, and then I went into sculpture. So I don't limit myself by any means by medium. If anything, I choose a medium that speaks with the work. It communicates what I want to actually say. But yes, I don't limit myself. And I experiment with techniques all the time. And if I, like with metal and material like glass, I go and do courses to learn how to work with that material. So I've got welding tickets and things like that. When I started making things, it always had to do with my experience of the world, of the environment that I'm in. I was 8, nearly 9 years old when we came to Australia. I spoke no English. When you're a child, you don't have a choice. Wherever your parents go, you follow, basically. So they brought the family to Sydney from Czechoslovakia, but I'm Greek. Both my parents are Greek. They were refugees in Czechoslovakia. And so when we came here, it was quite a shock. We were really different. We dressed different. We look different. They used to call us, all things like wogs or dagos. Like in Czechoslovakia, we were Greeks, so we were still different then too, but nothing compared to here. We really stood out, and my parents didn't buy us clothes. My mother made us clothes, and as a teenager growing up, that was really embarrassing. I still remember when Mum knitted my sister and myself a top with our names on the front. And it was I wish she kept it because it's like an artwork. It was beautiful. Looking back at it, it was magnificent work. But for a teenager, with a name like Olga or Jana, again, and you're wearing it, it's a bit... And so, yeah, we got picked on a lot. So I think drawing and playing with objects and making things out of nothing was because we didn't have anything, but also it was a way of sort of expressing ourselves in the only way we knew because we couldn't communicate in English. I'm sure everybody has that experience where to belong sometimes one is truly compromised by what the society and culture expects of us. And so for me it was like I always imagined the dominant culture or the powerful individual who can dominate somebody, and that experience of being dominated or dominating. But making someone believe that you are doing what they really want you to do, or you are the person that they want you to be, and then you actually trick them and you are the person that you want to be, you're just making them believe the other. Alone it's basically a work about my background. It's about my family's identity within the larger picture. But it's not just about my family, it's about the identity of many refugee or all refugee families in a sense, because there's a common bond we have of loss and finding oneself within a foreign place or foreign land and having to go through all that trauma of trying to survive. But at the same time, we're not unique. Like, there are so many people that have experienced this. I applied to DCA for a grant to actually return back to the place of my family. Although I'm Greek, I wasn't born there. I was born in Czechoslovakia to Greek parents. So I was brought up like a Greek, in a Greek household within a completely different culture. So I was quite, I felt confused. I wasn't Czech, I wasn't Australian, was I Greek? So I wanted to go back and do research about, because a lot of my work is about belonging and identity and what it means to be part of something much greater than the self. So I wanted to go back to Greece, learn about where I come from, personalize it, but at the same time acknowledge that it's not just my story. It's a story of probably everybody on the planet, because everybody wants to belong to something. And this was sort of my story, but using it as a symbol. The title, Into the Woods Alone, is, for me, it was perfect because it was also unmapped. It was constant chaos. I had no idea where I was going, really. Every day was a new discovery in a sense, and it was like the fairy tale of going into the woods, not knowing it's dark and scary, and you don't know what's going to happen. You don't want to be too rigid in where you're going with your work. It's like a tree. You got the trunk, you're growing, and then you got the branches, and it'll take you on all different roads, all different directions, and it's still the same tree, still the same story, just a different aspect of the story. And so I interviewed people. I did a lot of research. People introduced me to different stories. They introduced me to different experiences. It just took me on a road that was completely chaotic and uncharted for me. And then I brought it all back and talked about that journey of, of identity, of knowing where one is, when that's always changing as well, which is weird. I used to want the audience to be somehow informed through my work, but you know what? That's not it at all anymore. What it is more for me is that I want the audience to actually look more at themselves and how they are in the world, and think about how whatever they do, how that impacts on others and our natural environment. I'm not here to teach anyone, I'm actually here to learn. And I learn from the audience. I learn how they interact with my work, and that sometimes makes me rebel and create new work due to what I've learned. But I want my art to touch people. I think that's the main thing. I want things back too. I don't want to just be giving. And I do. I actually get a lot from the audience, because the audience becomes participants with my work, and then they sort of are the foundations for my next work, in a sense. So it's like a give and take experience.